Hello Dollar General friends. In this video, we're going to talk about the new clearance prices that will be starting on Tuesday, October 14th. First up, there is one category dropping to 90% off this week, and it's going to be the swim diapers. There are 3 different sizes of the Pampers Splashers and 3 different sizes of the Dollar General brand swim diapers. I have not got visuals of the Dollar General swim diapers because I have not seen them in any of my stores this year. I've only found a couple stores that are actually carrying the Pampers Splashers. So I definitely don't expect the swim diapers to be easy to find at 90% off because I couldn't find them at full price in my stores. If you're looking for them, definitely check anywhere your store still has swim items. If your store has the pool toys and stuff, you might check that aisle. And then you might want to check with the regular diapers. Sometimes stores just take the last few swim diapers off the display and they mix them in with the regular diapers just to give them somewhere to go. Check the Sky shelf on the regular diaper section and you might find some. Now, the rest of this video, I'm showing visuals from a ton of different categories that are all going to be dropping to 70% off this week. On Tuesday, October 14th, we have a ton of categories dropping to 70% off. Almost every summer category that you can think of, and several random home decor categories, just tons of stuff dropping to 70% off. So I'm gonna read through the list of the categories while this video scrolls through tons of visuals from each of these categories that's dropping. First up, let's talk about green clover items. There are actually 3 different categories that have green clovers on the price tag that are dropping to 70% off this week. There's the tropical summer items, which has a lot of fruit-themed party supplies. There's some luggage tags, pool floats, lots of random stuff in the tropical summer category. There is a travel category that is included in green clover, but I cannot find any of those items in my stores. I have found one suitcase that has a green clover on it that's following the travel category, but I cannot find anything else from that. So definitely good luck if you plan on finding those items. There is also a $1 garden category that has green clovers on the price tags. There's just a ton of different small gardening items, some cheap plastic type items, some pots, lots of different things that are all $1 each, but they're going to be 70% off this week. Select summer insect items and select private brand sun care items will be going to 70% off this week. And those are 2 categories that are always really confusing. When they say summer insect items, there is just about 3 or 4 bug spray items that are actually following that markdown. There's a ton of bug spray that stays full price year round in Dollar General. So there's only a few insect items to look for. And then the sunscreen is also really confusing. Every year, there are just a few sunscreens that get marked down. There are a lot of Dollar General branded sunscreen items that will stay full price because they stay on the regular shelf all year. It's definitely one of those categories you want to pay attention to which visuals you've seen. You want to take screenshots of which barcodes to look for, or you want to make sure you scan in the app the ones you're trying to buy because there's a lot that will be full price while the others are dropping from 70% off this week. Another category on the list dropping to 70% off is going to be the spring and summer stationery and party items. There's a lot of random napkins and paper plates and just party supplies that are considered spring and summer party items. And then there are a few stationery items you can look for. There's also back to school stationery and hardware dropping to 70% off this week. and there are very few stationery items to look for. When you hear back to school, it makes you think there's a lot of school items going on sale, but most of the school supplies that they get at Dollar General stay full price on the regular shelf all year. So there's only a few items that are actually following this category and dropping in price. 70% off this week. Eventually they'll go 90% off and then to a penny, but definitely another category you have to pay attention to because most of the school supplies you find are going to be staying full price. Another category dropping to 70% off this Tuesday is going to be the Club 92 candles. This is another category that is super confusing because there is a small list of $8 and $5 Club 92 candles that are following this markdown progression. They're going to 70% off this week, but there are a lot of different scents that are $8 and $5, have the same symbol on them, that are not following this markdown progression. There's a lot of candles that look exactly like the ones that are on sale that are actually going to remain at full price. So you definitely have to pay attention to which scent of candle you're grabbing, because even though it has the same symbol and the same price and the same brand, half of them are not going to be on sale. It's incredibly confusing. The next thing going to 70% off is two different Dolly Parton categories. There are summer items, which have a lot of bright red, yellow, and blue items. And then there's also the Dolly Parton Cup of Ambition tier table set of items, which has a bunch of pale blue and pale pink items. Basically, all the Dolly Parton items except for the new Christmas ones are going to 70% off this week. This is one of those categories that I expect you to find a lot of stuff left over from, mixed into the NCI aisle. I have seen so many Dolly Parton items mixed in on the NC aisles of my store. Wherever your store has regular full price dishes, candles, clocks, artwork, that kind of stuff, that's the NCI aisle, and a lot of Dolly Parton stuff has moved off of the 3-tier displays and been mixed in with those full-priced items. So that's where you're going to want to look for that kind of stuff. And there is a ton of it to be looked for. The next category we're going to talk about is the Yellow Dot apparel and shoes. These spring and summer accessories, there's keychains, there's purses, there's ink pens. Any of that stuff with yellow dots will be going to 70% off this week, but be wary of the shoes. Flip-flops usually stay full price, but if you find fancier sandals with a yellow dot, there's a good chance that they'll actually follow the markdowns. This is one of the things that confuses people every year. The lawn and garden items will be going to 70% off this week. This includes all the gardening type items, like small garden statues and stuff. But the pots and the fancier planters from this category usually stay at full price, which is incredibly confusing. There's always some small bags of grass seed and dirt that will follow the lawn and garden markdowns, but there's a lot that will stay full price. Definitely another category where you want to scan the items before you end up throwing them in your cart. There are also going to be beach towels going to 70% off this week. There's going to be Green Dot home items going to 70% off this week. That is just a ton of summer dishes and a lot of really cool jungle themed decor this year. They've got a lot of cheetah themed items that are really cool that are Green Dot home goods. They're going to 70% off. There is a camping category of Field and Stream branded items that is going to 70% off this week. Green Star apparel, including the Mother's Day, Valentine's, and Black History items, will be going to 70% off. Purple Dot home goods are finally dropping to 70% off. The 4th of July seasonal items are still at 70% off. The Purple Clover items, there is spa items like you see on the screen right now. There is a sweet treats category of party supplies that kind of look like Valentine's items. And there are gaming home goods type items that are going to 70% off this week. There is just a complete ton of items going to 70% off this week. But the really exciting part about all of these categories dropping to 70% off is that there's going to be a seasonal clearance event from Friday, October 17th through Sunday, October 19th. And during that seasonal event, all of these 70% off categories we just talked about are going to be an additional 50% off, which means this upcoming weekend, every item you see in this video, all of those categories are going to be ringing up 85% off at Dollar General, which is an amazing price. I will be putting out several videos showing you a ton of more visuals of items to look for this upcoming clearance event. Let me know in the comments, guys, what are you most looking forward to finding? I hope this video helps you out, and until next time, bye!